there is a program called International Management in MDI. So I converted that, and I converted most of the new IIMs.
Why did you choose IIM Rohtak specifically?
Okay, so see, I didn't appear for a lot of exams, right? I only appeared for CAT, and I didn't appear for ZAT or NMATs or IFT or something. So IIMs were something that you apply by default. Basically, all other colleges for me was more or less equal only in terms of the career options that I'm going to get post MBA, and the kind of people, the batchmates that I'm going to get. The profile of the batch was more or less equal in all the IIMs. So I chose IIM Rohtak. Uh, Primarily because also the first convert that I had was IIM Kashipur. Now IIM Kashipur was something which was very far from Delhi. So
Okay.
I chose convenience, and then I converted Rohtak. And once I converted Rohtak, I paid the fees. Then I converted IIM Udaipur also. So I think.
Hey, hello Subhrajit. Thank you for coming to our podcast channel, the IIM Journey. How are you?
Hi Elias, I'm good. How are you? All good?
All good, all good. Thank you so much. And
Yeah.
welcome again. So can you introduce yourself? Which IIM are you from?
Okay, so I'm from IIM Rohtak. So I graduated in 2020, right? And yeah, since then I've been working with EY. So I joined a company called Michael Page for 3 months, and then I moved to EY. So I've been here for 4 years now.
Okay, interesting.
Yeah.
And did you have any prior experience? What's your background before coming to IIM? Rohtak?
Yes. So I have worked for around 4 years before coming to IIM Rohtak. So I worked in a company called Tech Mahindra, which is an IT services firm. But I joined in as a software engineer, but I never worked as a software engineer. So I had this 6 months training, and then I moved to a strategy office, a transformation office, right, where we work directly with the chief transformation officer. And yeah, so that's about it. 4 years there, 3.5, 3.7 years, and then I moved to MBA. Yeah, so that's about it.
So why? At what point in your life did you decide to go for MBA? What made you decide?
Okay, so the decision was actually made in my undergrad years itself. So I first appeared for CAT in 2013, right? A long way back, 11 years back. So
Right.
that was back in my undergrad days when we, started deciding what to do with our careers. So yeah, me and you, we are from the same college. So we know that there were not very much opportunities there, right? Not many opportunities at that point in time. So there were either you have to sit for a competitive exam, or you had an option to, get into a government job, or placement opportunities were very scarce. So we were thinking about what we are going to do in our lives. So that's when we decided that no, let's see the options. And it was pre-geo age. So internet was also not very, very much available, very easily available. So we used to see our seniors, preparing for CAT, and it seemed like a very good option, because we all heard the stories of how people got multi-crore offers from IIMs, and we thought it would be very easy life, will be hunky dory after that. So yeah, so why not prepare for CAT? So that's when the decision was made. Obviously, I bombed in the 2013 CAT. I only scored around 70 percentile, and then I think I joined the job. And it was always there in the back of my mind, but primarily because we had a bond. In those days, the IT companies used to sign bonds from us. It was around 2 years ka bond. So for 2 years, I was not going to move anywhere, and I thought it would be, if I'm doing an MBA, which is a professional course, it is important to get some experience as well, because then you are going to understand the subjects more clearly, and it would be helpful in getting a job after that as well. So yeah, that's how, when the decision was made, that I will wait for around 2 or 3 years and then appear for CAT again.
Okay, so this hunky life after a CAT. So are you living the hunky life right now?
I'll not say that it's not good. Obviously, it's better than what it was before CAT or before MBA. But obviously, life is not all hunky dory. It has its ups and downs. But if I were to compare on averages how my day used to be primary before MBA and how it is after MBA, I would say, yeah, more than satisfied with the kind of life that we have now.
All right, all right. And during your college time, I mean, when you were choosing the colleges for MBA, what other options you had, and why did you choose IIM Rohtak specifically?
Okay, so see, I didn't appear for a lot of exams, right? I only appeared for CAT, and I didn't appear for ZAT or NMATS or IFT or something. So during CAT, we had to shortlist a lot of colleges. So IIMs were something that you apply by default, right? That's one. And then there were extra colleges that you want. If you want, you can apply. So I only applied for MDI, FMS, and I think SPGen. So those are the only three colleges that I applied other than IIMs. And primary, what happened was that I scored around 97 percentile, which was not good for me to get into an FMS. And also, I think SPGen had that cutoff around 97, but it was also not good enough for us. So I didn't get a call from FMS and SPGen. I got a call from MDI, and I converted MDI ka. There is a program called International Management in MDI. So I converted that, and I converted most of the new IIMs except for IIM Trichy, I think. Except for IIM Trichy, I converted almost all the IIMs, and IIM Ranchi, two colleges. Trichy and Ranchi I didn't convert. So yeah, basically all other colleges for me was more or less equal only in terms of the career options that I'm going to get post MBA, and the kind of people, the batchmates that I'm going to get. The profile of the batch was more or less equal in all the IIMs. So I chose IIM Rohtak. Uh, Primarily because also the first convert that I had was IIM Kashipur. Now IIM Kashipur was something which was very far from Delhi. So
Okay.
I chose convenience, and then I converted Rohtak. And once I converted Rohtak, I paid the fees. Then I converted IIM Udaipur also. So I think then I left Udaipur because I already paid the fees, and I didn't think it was worth it, to again move to Udaipur. So yeah, I stayed with Rohtak. So that's how the decision was made.
And how did you prepare for career working, right, when you started your preparations?
Yes. Yeah. So that was difficult, to be honest, because uh, as I said, I was not working in a software, typical software development job. So it was a strategy job, and the problem with these kind of roles is that you have to put in a lot of hours. So I had to put around 12 hours of work every day for 5 days a week, and sometimes on the weekend as well. So with those 12, 14 hours, there was not much time to to do anything else other than if you want to do CAT, it takes a lot of your time, and there were 2-3 hours that I got extra. So I started preparing. When I started preparing, before I started my CAT journey, before starting practicing, if you would say that, I researched the exam a lot of. So primarily I researched on how exactly should I prepare, how exactly should I go about it. So the answer that came out is that joining a, what do you call it, a test center or a coaching class was not something that was very recommended, because it is not it's not a rocket science. CAT is not rocket science. It's more of common sense, right? So I didn't join a coaching center. But I joined mock tests for IMS. I think I took IMS ka mock test, and then I started giving mocks. Right from the beginning, I started giving mocks. The first mock that I gave, I scored similar, around 70 percentile. And the worst, my weakest part was around VRC. So VRC, I scored around 40-60 percentile the last time I gave CAT. And then I thought that, I will double down on VRC first, because it was the weakest thing, and I thought that it was easy to get the scores up. VRC was not very difficult to score. So I started reading, and that too not novels. So I started reading books that were related to the excerpts or the reading comprehension passages that come in CAT. So if you would have noticed, in CAT they actually give you paragraphs or reading comprehension passages from varied subjects. There is arts, there is genetics, or maybe economics, right? So it's very disparate. And the point is that since we are an engineering student, we are some people are comfortable with economics, some people are comfortable with science, but you have to develop that comfort with all other genres as well. So that's how I started reading non-fiction a lot. I started reading economics, I started reading genetics, I started reading arts or whatever I could lay my hands
So
on. So I read around 20
from where did you read? Like what
books.
websites?
It was
Any examples? Like how did you
mm,
choose? There are so many subjects.
see, no, so I when I started appearing for mocks first, the first two mocks that I got was from economics. The first two passages that I got was from economics and genetics.
Mhm.
So I thought that I will start with these two subjects, right?
Okay.
So I started with economics. I took a book written by Amartya Sen and then Raghuram Rajan. So I started reading those. And then genetics, there was a book by Siddhartha Mukherjee. So I started reading that.
Mhm.
So that's how I built it up. And by the end of, before the day, I have read around 50 books that year. So yeah, that was about it. And then VARC was more or less done. So I actually sailed through that section. I had 10 minutes left before I completed. Once I completed, I had 10 minutes left with VARC section. So yeah, that was a good section. For quants, that was something of a strength for all of us engineers, right? So quant was not very difficult for us to prepare. And to be honest, I took quants a bit lightly, I think. So I didn't focus much on quants. I practiced it regularly, but then it was not something that I had a plan for.
Mhm.
But the other section that I had a plan for was DILR, because it's very random. If you see, DILR was one of the toughest sections in CAT recently. I don't know how it is today, but at the time that I was giving it was one of the toughest sections that we had.
Right.
So DILRP, the strategy that I adopted, or the research, what the research suggested was that you have to be very good with picking the right questions. If you don't pick the right questions, if you waste your time there, because it's not something that where you are going to answer out of 30 25 questions. You're not going to do that. You have to answer, say, 10 15 questions. If you answer it correctly, it's good enough for you to get a 95 plus percentile. So so that's how I started preparing. And there were multiple sources which had the last year mocks as well, because you only get 15 or 16 mocks, right? You have to get other mock papers as well. So there were multiple sources from Pagal Guy, etc., Quora, which had these question banks of all the subjects. So yeah, I took those and started practicing.
Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Interesting.
And so when you cracked IIM Rohtak, did you consult even the seniors as well before choosing IIM Rohtak?
Before choosing IIM Rohtak, yes. So every IIM, I think they have a mentorship program. I'm not sure if they have it today also, but I think IIM Udaipur had one, MDI had one, Rohtak also had one. I think, I don't remember exactly, but yeah, see, as I said, right. I was sure that if I get IIM Udaipur, Rohtak, Kashipur, I'll take anyone based on convenience. So I was not very choosy that no, I want IIM Udaipur or I want IIM Kashipur. I was like, if I convert these tier of colleges, I'll just take whatever I'm getting. So yeah, I spoke to people from IIM Udaipur, and whatever inputs that I got from them, I incorporated in my decision making. So yeah.
Okay. Interesting. And during your interview, how was your interview like? Since you already had a work ex for your CAT interviews, what did he ask you?
So it was very random. If I remember, I just entered the room, and there were two guys. One was a professor. I think both of them were professors, right? And right before I sat, they asked me a question from electrical engineering.
That's why I love Nestle Crunch.
Back to my basis. So I was actually quite stunned to get that question right into the room. So I just asked them, can I sit? And they were like, yeah, please sit first and then answer. So yeah, so first three questions were around electrical engineering. So I think I answered one of them out of three. Then I thought that my interview is gone. I have no chances of getting into an IIM. But then somehow they when you take I don't know if people take mock interviews today. So we had 1 or 2 rounds of mock interviews as well, mainly with some of my seniors from my college, undergrad college, right? So they helped me in preparing for the interviews as well. So I took 2 or 3 mock interviews there, and then they told me that the direction that the interview is going on is dependent on you. So there will be chances, there will be moments in the interview where you can steer the discussion to a comfortable zone, a zone that
Yes,
you are comfortable in. So
correct.
I got one or two zones there, one or two moments there, and I stirred the complete discussion in the area that I was comfortable in, primarily my work experience.
Okay.
So yeah, once it went into that direction, it was very easy. They were asking me questions about why you want to do an MBA and what is your experience going to bring to the table in a classroom. So yeah, all those questions I had prepared for, and it was pretty smooth after that. But yeah, initially it was really bad, I would say. First 3 4 questions.
Okay, all right. And what's the average
Yeah.
CTC during your time at IIM Rohtak? What was the placement average CTC?
See, as far as I remember, it was around 13, 14, I think, or it can be 15 also,
Okay,
if my
okay,
memory serves me right. Yeah.
okay, all right. And so the placement that you got at Michael Page from that was a placement from the campus, right?
Yes, yes, it was from the campus.
So was it above the average package that you got? Was it above
It was
average?
at par. I don't think it was above it, but I think it was at the average. It was not above, not below. So yeah, more or less at the average.
Okay, tell us about your summer internship. What did you do your summer internship, and was it from the IIM Rohtak only?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It was from IIM Rohtak. So I did my summer internship in Kotak Mahindra Bank.
Mhm.
Right. So Kotak Mahindra Bank hired us in the marketing team, chief marketing officer's office. So the marketing team is in Kotak. The team that I worked with was very small. 2 or 3 people were there, and my mentor was from IIM Ahmedabad. So the work that we got was again, to build a statistical model on how do you call it, this a statistical model to analyze or predict marketing spends on different channels, right? So banks spend on out of home advertising or TV advertising, so how much should they put in every in every advertising channel,
Mhm.
right? So that is the task that we got. Primarily that was one, and the second, there were multiple tasks that we got. The second one was to analyze what is missing from their primary product. So they had a retail, Kotak 911. You would have heard that they had this product wherein interest rates were the highest,
Okay.
right? In India. So it was going well, but they wanted to analyze what was missing. So I had to go to a bank and in a bank branch and speak to a lot of customers. And yeah, it was primarily in Mumbai itself.
Mhm.
So yeah, 2 months, and yeah, that's what it.
And also you did you wanted to do MBA. You did an MBA from IIM Rohtak. How was the experience like? What did you learn?
Oh, it was great. Yeah, experience was great. I my expectations were not very. I didn't expect too much. So I went with a low expectation only. That
Why?
obviously it's
Why low
no,
expectation?
no. I'm not saying that I didn't have expectations from an IIM. I'm saying that generally in life also I don't expect too many things. So that's a mantra that I have for life. That don't expect too many things. We'll be happy. So
Okay.
that's about it.
Okay.
So in IIM also I didn't expect a lot that I'm going to get this, I'm going to get that. So it was more of a live in the moment type of a thing. But yeah, when it comes to knowledge, when it and more than the knowledge that was imparted in the classroom, the knowledge that you get from your peers is very important in IIMs.
Mhm.
I mean, if you work in in a committee, or you are in a club, or you have a social group only among your friends, because every and IIM Rohtak focuses a lot on diversity, right? So there were a lot of people who were not from engineering background, the kind of background that I was in. So
Mhm.
there were a lot of people who were lawyers. There was someone from the army, right? And they were entrepreneurs. So from these people, you learn a lot. The kind of point of view they have is very different from what I had. So I would say 90% of my learning was from my peers only. But obviously, academics was also very important. I was very clear when I entered IIM Rohtak that academics, I'm not going to put less efforts in academics. I'm going to put a
Mhm.
lot of efforts in academics, so that
Mhm.
I know that it was important, and GPA kind of plays a role in your placements as well. Uh, and so that's why I thought that I will focus on academics as well. So yeah, I think that from that perspective, it was a very wholesome, a very holistic learning that I got from IIM Rohtak. And there were a lot of things that I didn't know about, that I came to know, and there was a lot of exposure. So when you study in a institute of national importance, you get a lot of exposure into things that you have not even thought of before, right? So when I was in my undergrad days in Arunachal in the northeast, the kind of exposure that I got there was nothing compared to what I got in IIM. So it was huge. You know, I mean, I'm emphasizing on this because primarily because you should focus on these kind of things, the exposure that you get. In big cities, it is very easy to get exposure, but for us who come from smaller cities, the platform that an IIM gives you to interact with a lot of people, especially a lot of experts, is not something that you get every day. So yeah, from
That's
that perspective, it was also great. Yeah.
And were you part of any club and committees?
Yeah, I was part of the PR team. So this is the same team which conducts the admissions as well. And yeah, so more or less, people think that we are responsible for everything that is going wrong in the admission process. But
Were you?
point to be clarified, we were not. No, we were not.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
So, what was the typical day at IIM Rohtak like?
So typical day, yeah. So used to wake up at around 7:30, right? And then at 8 o'clock there was a class. So you had to rush. Whatever breakfast you get, you get. Otherwise, you don't get. You sit through the classes and wait for your lunch. So yeah, 8 to, I think when I joined in the first year, I think 8 to 5 we had classes. So post 5 it was about committee work or working on next day's projects or next day's case studies, whatever assignments that you have to give. So around we used to sit on it at around 7 after dinner, and whatever time it ends. There was no particular time. So sometime we ended the project at around 12, sometime at around 3. So I mean, yeah, there was no schedule as such. So whatever comes your way, but generally, yeah, that's how the day looked.
Okay, and since you already had a work experience, like the assignments and the class discussions was there, did the work experience help? And how many
It
freshers were there?
definitely did.
Yeah.
See, work experience also matters. I mean, when I say work experience also matters, what I mean is the kind of work experience that you have matters. So if you and irrespective, so let me just clarify this first. Irrespective of whatever work experience you have, if you are exposed to some business terminologies, you are definitely going to understand it better, right? So yeah, putting it out of the way. The second thing that is important is in which domain that you worked in. If you have worked primarily in software development or a very transactional work, then I think the advantage that you get in IIM is more or less like a fresher itself, because you have worked in, say, delivering one feature, right? You have worked on that or providing support on one particular feature. So it's very transactional. But if you have worked in a the kind of work experience that I had, I worked in a profitability improvement project, right? So majorly whatever aspects there are that can improve profitability, right? Whenever I was taught marketing or operational aspects, I knew that yeah, I can do something like that. I had done something like that, and during the class discussions also, I could contribute a lot to that discussion. So there were subjects where I could learn from my peers. For example, finance, I didn't have any idea of finance, so there were a lot of CAs who helped me, CA, then CFAs, and who actually helped me understand that. And when it came to operational aspects on marketing, right, so that I had a lot of marketing, or I'm not marketing analytics. So yeah, from the analytics part, I had a lot of experience there, so I could add to the discussion. So yeah, the work experience definitely helped.
Interesting. And what would be the advantages of IIM Rohtak? Advantages and disadvantages?
Okay, so advantages is, I mean, the question is, what are you comparing it to? Are you comparing it to other IIMs, or are you comparing it to non-IIMs or any other general MBA college? So if you could clarify that, I can.
Among IIMs, among all the IIMs, among new IIMs. Okay, let's specify it more here.
Okay, so See, I mean, among new IIMs, more or less, as I said, right, always thought that they are more or less the same. But if you just think of some unique aspects, it's that it's closer to the NCR capital region. So
Mhm.
obviously, the kind of I would not say placement opportunities, but the kind of internship opportunities also you get is much higher in
Mhm.
IIM Rohtak. And also, as I said, they focus a lot on diversity. So classroom discussions are also pretty interesting, and obviously it has a very good campus and everything. Disadvantages or cons, if I think of, yeah, when we joined in, see, the biggest con we faced was with the facilities, because it was a new campus. We are the
Okay.
first batch in the campus.
Mhm.
So primarily, yeah, from that side it was a little, there were teething problems at that point in time. But other
Mhm.
than that, yeah, I can't think of anything, to be honest. It's more or less the same.
And so tell us about the professors, like which some course that you learned that was your favorite, and and one of your favorite professors at Rohtak.
Okay, so there was a visiting faculty from IIM Indore. Okay,
Okay.
so he used to teach us a subject in marketing. So I think, and then yeah, I think that guy only. I mean, he was really good, to be honest. So there were not many students who took that course, and so we
Okay.
got a one-on-one kind of an interaction. So there were people who were only sitting in the first row, right? So 10, 20 people. So that's why we got a lot of interaction, FaceTime with that
Mhm.
person, and the kind of methods that he taught us back then is helpful to me till now. Because when I go into a consulting assignment, there is a certain framework that we follow, right, when you deliver on a project, right? And uh, so when you think of frameworks, it's like the way you think, where you structure a problem. So that is something that he taught us really well, and that thought process is still with me. So I think, yeah, so he was one of the good professors. But if I talk about in-house professors, in-house faculties, I think there is a person called SK Pandey. He's a dreaded professor because of his ways and because of the perception that he gives out in a class. But I think we took two to three courses. Marketing analytics was one of the courses, and yeah, the kind of the way that he teaches is really good. I mean, he gives practical examples, and then we used to think that marketing was basically driven by creativity, right? He taught us that marketing is driven primarily by numbers, right? So
Oh.
that's the change that he brought in our perspective. So yeah, there I think he was my favorite in a way from in-house professors.
And the professor from I'm Indo, what subject did he teach? What was the course name?
It was a subject in marketing only. I don't remember exactly the name. It was a marketing subject, is something that I can remember, not exactly the name.
Okay. And
Yeah.
so after you got a campus placement, you immediately switched in 3 months. So what was the hike that you got in terms of percentage?
So hike was around 33% when I switched from Michael Page to UI. Yeah.
So right now you're working at UI. So what do you basically do? Like, and how is MBA? What did you learn at IIM Rohtak is helping you at your current job?
Okay. So it's again, as I said, it's the way you think, right?
Mhm.
Structured problem solving is the bread and butter of consulting. The problem can be small, the problem can be huge, but once you structure it, you basically break the problem down into smaller chunks, which gets easier to solve, right? So as I said that okay, so what I do, I'll get to that first.
Mhm.
So my team basically focuses on is a sector focused team. So when you get into EY, it is organized into sectors, right? So there can be a technology sector team, there can be manufacturing sector team. So I primarily work in the technology sector team, right? So all my clients are from the technology sector, and what we do is everything. I mean, we solve operational problems, we solve you know growth problems, or when it comes to transformation, we do digital transformation also for clients. So yeah, plethora of things. And when you talk about how MBA helped, it actually gave us that business perspective as well as the
Acumen.
there are a lot of jargons. Yeah,
Yeah.
obviously acumen, and obviously a lot of jargons that you use and you're not familiar with, right? When you are an engineer or something. But on a daily basis, we solve. We have to look at P&Ls. We have to look at everything. So from that perspective, I think MBA comes in handy because it taught us a lot of things there.
All right. So this business thinking approach, this analytical approach, do you think someone who doesn't do an MBA also can acquire those skill set?
Absolutely. In today's day and age, MBA is not a necessity. Everything is available online. Everything is available on different websites. For example, all the ad tech companies, or for that matter, even the colleges. IIM Bangalore also puts up a lot of stuff online, a lot of courses online. Stanford also puts a lot of stuff online. But the point is, or the challenge for someone who is not an MBA is that you have to, go out and do your research on which courses you want to take, right? So when you enter an MBA college, basically you have a platter that is for you. You have a buffet of subjects from which you can choose, right? And everything is prepared. It is for you. It is customized for you, right? But when you do, when you go and research on internet, everything is available. But finding the right thing is the challenge. So that's
Okay, it is not structured.
It is not structured at all. Yeah.
All right, yeah, that's a good take. And so it's a general understanding that the network of the IIMs, they help a lot. So since you have graduated, it's been almost 4 years. So how is this networking of IIM Rohtak helping you right now? Do you see any effect of that?
Yeah. So see, it helps primarily because when you are an alumni, you get access to the alumni portals or the alumni groups wherein a lot of job opportunities come up. So I have not used any of these opportunities as of now, but obviously I keep on putting job opportunities in the alumni networks as well.
Okay.
Right. So if someone wants to come to work in our companies, the first thing that I'll go to is my alumni group. If there is an opportunity in my company, I'll go to my alumni group and I'll post the opportunity. If someone is interested, he can come in. So yeah, from that perspective, it is helpful.
All right. So, and what was the best memory at IIM Rohtak?
Okay, so best memory. Okay, so see, most of the memories that I have currently is personal. So I found my wife in IIM. So yeah, I think around that, my best memories revolve around that moment, or those moments that the pivotal moments, wherein we first spoke, or first had an interaction, or I approached her or whatever. Well, those memories are the ones that are very fresh and kind of very good memories for me. So yeah.
Okay. Amazing. So what would be your message to someone who is looking to pursue an MBA, or someone who is struggling with life, confused what to do? What would be your message to them?
Struggling in life from a professional basis, I can be helpful. From a personal basis, I cannot be helpful.
Okay.
So yeah, if you're struggling in life and from a professional perspective, yeah, in that case, and if you're considering MBA, I would say that go and research. Research is very important. At least if you are starting, let's say if CAT is in October or December, you should start your research in January. Spend the entire January only in research. Read everything that you have in the internet. Everything is available now. What an IIM person does before IIM, what you should do, how you should prepare for CAT. After you get into IIM, what you should do, what you should not do. After you graduate from IIM, how you should spend your life. Everything is available. Go and read it. If you think that you are cut out for it, just go. Then start preparing. If you're not cut out for it, there are ample number of opportunities. Start your own business or get into something that interests you. First, you have to see where your interests lie, right? So once that is figured out, your motivations are in the right place, then you should start preparing for CAT. Otherwise, you're not going to get all the way through. So yeah, it's a tiring journey. So take your decisions correctly, place your motivations in the right place, and then start the journey. So that would be my advice.
Yeah, that's a beautiful advice, Subhrajit. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you for your time today. We wish you all the best in the future. We know that you'll do great. The days ahead will be even better. The honky ponky days.
Thanks a lot.
Yeah. So what was the term?
Thanks a lot for having me.
Honky and
Hunky dory.
Honky dory. Okay, that's a new term I'm learning today. Okay, honky dory.
Okay, great. Something we all learn.
Okay, so we wish you honky dory life ahead, and yeah, all the best. Thank you for your time today. Bye bye.
Thanks for having me, yaar. Thank you. It was great interacting with you. Thank you. Bye.